Well, welcome everybody to the workshop Problem What Problem here at Agile Lean Middle East. We're going to be playing a game today which is going to be focused on impediments and learning about how to deal with impediments and how to get better at dealing with that. So these are basically the sponsors for the conference. As we mentioned, they can't do the conference without sponsors, so I think it's important to recognize them. A little bit about me. What I'm mostly doing right now is actually going through my own Agile transition right now, scaling Agile and digitalization. So I used to work at a company, I used to do a lot of coaching in there. I'm more and more changing that to training and advisory work, and more of the stuff is actually being done remotely, digitally. I'm making many of the exercises that I have available for people to download, so that actually the whole world can download them and play the games in their own setting. I'm coaching people around the world to do this, which is a way to scale up the stuff that I've been doing in the organization. So I'm more or less eating my own Agile transformation, eating my own dog food right now, scaling up stuff in there. This is one of the games that I play a lot in the workshop that I do. So let's start a little bit about what are impediments. Basically, an impediment is anything that hinders the team from getting their work done, which is quite a broad definition, I know, but that's basically how I would like to look at an impediment. So an impediment can be a problem that is happening in the team, something that is how the people are working together in teams, something that they see as a problem within inside the team. It can be something external to the team within the organization, it can even be external to the organization perhaps. But the main thing to recognize is it is something that is hampering the team from doing their work. It's hampering the team from delivering results, which is something they would like to do. They're working together to deliver the result to their customers. And as I mentioned this morning in the opening session, Agile, in my opinion, is not making impediments. Agile is bringing them to the surface. That is one of the main strengths in there. If you're doing Agile in a proper way, if you're using Agile techniques, if you're working based on the Agile values in your organizations, problems will surface. They were there, most of the problems were there all the time, but they will surface now and they will come up in the teams and there will be something that you need to deal with as a team. And that's why it makes it so important for teams to develop these impediment skills. Maybe one other thing, I'm talking about developing these skills for a team. So it's not about the Scrum Master solving impediments, it's not about the manager solving impediments. I see impediments as something that the whole team should work on and should be solving. And that's actually what we will see in the game also. You will be going into a discussion who should be solving the impediment. Should it be a team member? Should it be the Scrum Master? Should it be somewhere externally to a team? And that's going to be an interesting discussion to look at. So the main things I see, if you look at handling impediments in there, is first of all recognizing the signal. I'm saying signal, not impediment. So there is a signal that something is wrong in there. You don't know yet what it is, but there seems to be some problem, there seems to be something that is hampering the team in getting their work done. So the first part is catching that signal and checking, okay, what is the problem? What is the thing that is hampering the team right now? And is it a real problem or not? Maybe it's not. Maybe there's no real issue. Maybe there is an issue. But the first part is catching that signal and doing something with that. And there's already a difference if you look at Agile to comparing it to when you were not working in Agile, where you might be ignoring stuff. You might be expecting from your manager to look at this kind of stuff. If you're working as an Agile team, this is something that you have to be aware of. Picking up those signals and acting upon that. Then the second part will be, okay, what is the actual problem? And usually the best way to find out what the actual problem is start asking questions. Digging deeper. Looking at the signal, asking, okay, what's really happening? How is this hampering the team? What is the problem that we are facing right now? What is working, what is not working? How does it influence us? How does it impact us? As you're in a game playing situation right now, there's going to be some simulation in there. If you're a real team, This is something that you can actually bring in actual facts where people will bring in how they see the situation, how they perceive the problem. That's the thing that will normally be happening if a team is dealing with impediments. In the game situation that you're in right now, I'm asking you to do some kind of playing in there. So think about how this would happen in your team. Think about how team member would feel about this. And then once you did some discussion in your team, take a decision on what you think is most likely the problem that will be there in the team and what you would like to solve. Then the third step will be to think about, okay, how can we solve this? And I mentioned here deploying practices. This is a more general term, but I would like you to think about if there's a problem, okay, what can we do to solve this? I'm calling it deploying because most of the time there's no standard solution for that. There are solutions out there. I prefer to have multiple solutions there based upon the thinking from Jerry Weinberg. If you don't have 3 solutions to a problem, you don't understand the problem. You don't know yet what's happening in there, so think about multiple solutions in there and then take a decision on what to do. So what I would like to see in the game setting situations you are doing is to discuss multiple solutions. Think about what will be the advantage or the disadvantage of solution. Think about how it would solve the problem. And there's actually also a possibility in the game to do some kind of experimentation. So you can set a hypothesis where you think like, okay, if we do it like this, then we would expect this to happen. Then you would expect that it would solve the problem in that way. And if you do that, you will actually be getting extra points. That's a way of encouraging this kind of behavior in the game setting that you're in right now. Then the last part of handling the impediments would be taking the decision on who needs to take action. And this is again where I said, could it be any team member who should do this? Does it have to be the Scrum Master? It might be in some situations. Or do you really need some kind of external help to solve this problem? Do you need somebody from the outside to help you with this because you can't solve it on your own? Actually, what I found out by playing this game with a lot of teams in different countries, in different continents all around the world, is that it's very interesting to see how that is developing. Because this was contrary to what I expected, how it would turn out. But we'll see that at the end. I'm not going to reveal it right now, but this is an interesting part of playing this game on who would actually be solving the problem in there. So, without further ado, I would like you to play the game. There's a set of instructions in there about playing the game. The game is based on the game of Goose. So this is actually the playing board that you have and where you will be walking around the game board based on the number that you will be doubling. If you get on an impediment field, pick one of the impediment cards, shuffle them first and then pick one of the impediment cards. And again, this impediment card is the signal that I talked about. So read it out loud and think about what could be the impediment, have a discussion in your team. The discussions are actually more interesting than the signal in there. That's what the real learning comes from. Once you had the discussion, once you agreed on what you think most likely the problem would be, and this is where you as a team have to make some assumptions, of course, think about how to solve it. That will be the action. Write it down on a small sticky note. Stick that note to the card so that you can actually see the signal and the action on the card. And then put the card on the board where you think it should fit. Any team member can do this. It should be the Scrum Master, or you need some external help with this. And then see how this board will develop over time. There's a couple of roles in there. Somebody's going to be the bank. So that's going to be the one keeping the coins and handing out the coins. The bank is also a player, so anybody who takes the bank role will also be playing the game, so you're still a participant in there. For some of the exercise you need a timekeeper. Again, somebody will be taking time for the exercise, but you're also a member and you're also playing the game in there, so you're just joining the team and any other member will be. And I think for starter would help if one of you would take the description of the game and read it out loud and explain it to the team how the game will be played. I will be there if you have any questions about playing the game. I will also be there if you go into a discussion on impediments and you're thinking about how to solve them. So I'm going to have different roles in there, facilitating, but also kind of consulting or mentoring you on working with the impediments. After you've played the game, we're going to take some time for reflection, see what you learned in there, see what you learned about handling impediments or any other stuff that you would like to bring up, and then we can share experiences from the different tables and learn from each other. Okay, any questions right now? Start playing. Those are the chance cards. That's also explained in the rules.
I will read this out so that each one of the impediments are done. 1. Retrospective actions defined. 2. Or releases reached. 3. On these 3 points, you give points. You put out points. Points is equal to 1 coin. 1 point is equal to 1 coin. You take back coins when the team invests in management, sport, or coaching. You take it back. You are also a team member and will play the game. Another, this is the bank manager. Another team member will play the role of timekeeper for the hotel well and retrospectives. For the hotel well and retrospectives. I still don't understand what that is. Retrospective.
Maybe we'll play and then we'll know what it is.
Well, this is
What is hotel and
This is where the well is.
This
So
is
you
hotel.
might end up here or in the hotel, you might end up there, or when you do a retrospective.
Okay.
So we'll keep time. How much time will stay over?
Once you get on that card,
much
it
time
will
you
explain
stay?
how much time you need to take. That's actually explained in the game.
Yes.
Yeah.
Next to playing the game as a team member, so you will be next to the playing to the team member. Agree upfront who will take this role. So all of us agree that we will take this role.
Okay.
Any objections? Thank you.
And then
You'll be the timekeeper, I'll be the bank.
Okay.
Start by shuffling the impediments, impediment cards,
Yeah.
and chance cards. These are the chance cards. I hope.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
putting them. So shuffle these, shuffle that as well. Okay. And putting them face down on the table. Put face them. I already reshuffled it a lot.
Yeah. They are random.
Okay, on the table, the youngest person in the team starts by throwing the dice and moves the piece forward. No, 20.
No, 37.
27. I am the youngest one. You are just 18. So I will throw the dice. Okay. Impediment, what impediment is on the board? Take an impediment card from the stack, discuss it in the team and decide on the actions and agree who should do it. So once we reach the impediment, then we have to pick, right?
Yes.
Right? Yeah. Chance.
Hi.
So this is chance. Take a chance card.
Hi. You want to join in on the game?
No, when we will reach it.
Okay.
Go
So
here
reach
or
the.
I think it's best to join one of the teams right now.
Now done. Is,
But they've been reading the game already, so you might need some time to explain on the game.
discuss the card in the team to bring up ideas. What the problem might be.
Enough
how
roles
that
for all of us,
hinders
so just
When there
some.
are multiple possible problems
We still don't
that
have the
can
banker.
cause the
Do we have
impediment, just pick one of that which is
You
most
want to be
likely
the banker?
and work from
am I,
it.
if I'm going to take the money and that's
We discuss how to deal with impediment.
There's not that much banking to be done, so it's a side role. And the same is true for the timekeeper. Yeah, it's just a small role.
just one coin and one.
Finally, the team decides who will
We
take
gave the coin when we reached 12, 24 and 4.
Yeah, when you're done or when you finish an action, yeah. And there's some scoring table in there.
So you have to throw it again, I guess.
So now we go clockwise. That's right.
Yeah, clockwise, yeah.
We went then. So it's case.
Right hand.
Like 5 now? Okay, so we're now on the chance.
Take a chance card, read the instruction out loud and follow them.
The management visits your team and wants to help you. Okay, you can define one action that means extending support for free. You don't have to pay 2
Oh,
points.
we need more.
Usually you have to pay 2 points if you've got required money.
How to handle impediments?
You can keep this card
Discuss the
when
card
you
with
have
the
an
team.
action that needs execution.
Okay, keep
Okay,
it.
yeah,
Just
keep
laying
right
around
there.
there.
And there are multiple possible problems that can cause the impediment. Just pick one that is most likely and work on one. Right?
Take an impediment card from the start, discuss it in the team, and decide on the action. And then we push it. What does it say?
That's a signal. But the first question would be, what's the impediment?
Yeah.
Is this a problem? What could be the problem?
So we have
Accommodating customer. I think he needs to
with him how we can redefine
for
our
his
sprint
problem or for his needs.
or
But
revise
I
our
believe the issue here is not understanding the user story of the task, the one that we have. So it needs clarification with the product owner.
If you take this as a sprint,
So this is the problem that we need to solve.
This is
I'm
actually,
sure.
this is impediment.
No, it's a signal. It's not the impediment. It's a signal. And right now, the discussion at the table would be, okay, what would be the impediment? Somebody is saying this in your team.
Maybe the company owner is, I'm not sure what his customer would like. And we have to
lack
give
of
him a
knowledge.
suggestion how to solve
During the
this
planning, we
confusion.
didn't understand what the requirements.
Because during the sprint we are unsure what the customer would like. It means we are not sure when we were planning the meeting.
What's the actual need?
What the product owner customer wants and we started the sprint right away. And during the sprint now we are working with that.
No.
So I believe that this.
Okay.
sorry.
Yeah?
So we got first impediment, we decide on action as well.
Uh-huh.
Now we reach chance. This is the chance card. That
Okay.
Scrum Master can take only one action. And this
Okay.
action we gave it to Scrum Master. Okay.
Okay.
Now when that so it isn't doing. So when it will move to done?
It moves to done when you're at the end of the sprint.
At the end of the sprint. Okay.
No, the
Okay,
end,
done. This is done. Huh?
this is done when you're done. So as long as you're not here, you're in doing. If you're assuming that it's one time, so it's one person saying, okay, I'm sorry guys, I know that the stand-up is important, but I can't join today. I'm going to be there tomorrow again. It's a one-time exception.
Yes.
If that person knows how to catch up with the team,
Yeah. it
which,
could
which,
be
which
solved.
you're assuming
Yeah.
if they were used to working together, okay, then maybe indeed it's not an impediment. If somebody's just saying like, okay, I got work to do, I'm in the middle of my programming, I don't want to join this meeting, he might not understand how important the stand-up is.
Yes.
It is your daily check-up with each other, it's your coordination point, so it's an important meeting time for the team to work together. It's only 10 minutes, 15 max, most of the time only 10, so it's worth investing the 10 minutes in there. So again, it depends. If you think as a team, if you think as a Scrum Master, people understand the importance of stand-up, know why it's there, are generally participating, use that meeting to coordinate, use the time to catch up if they can't join the meeting, okay.
I think it's
If you have
very
some idea like they don't know why this meeting is there and they're not joining, then you probably got another issue. And then I think you should take it very seriously. So
because there is a lot of handover happening during this stand-up. Sometimes people are handing over, so you have to attend to know what's going on, what's the update, I believe.
in prison again. You keep ending up in prison, guys. So what are you doing wrong to end up in prison?
Just we got
Are you too eager to win, or what's happening in here?
It's shared luck.
That's a bad explanation. There's always a reason for that.
We are, at wrong place at the wrong time.
You don't know how to throw a dice.
We just get euro from the what shall we do now?
Okay, well, what can you do? So you had a new team member, yeah? Okay, I just want to check quickly. So you joined the team. How did it go?
Basically, because we are working in most of the people we are working in the same team with, so we know what are the problems, what are the impediments happen
Uh-huh.
running a scrum and how you need to do that. So It's not new for me.
No, but by the way, this is the guy who landed us in jail.
Okay. I'm getting.
you can understand.
I'm getting mixed signal here. I'm getting a signal from a team of people who are working together, feel like a brotherhood, and I feel some blaming culture happening in here.
So we need to correct this. No blame game.
But assuming it's joking, okay, I think they got you on board quite quickly. And by the way, I think that's showing how if you have a kind of stable team, if you have people working together as a team who know each other, you can get somebody up to speed quite quickly. So showing the advantage of being in a team already, I think you learned something, except for the blaming, of course. Okay, so I'm going to let you out.
Thank you.
Okay. You ready with your team retrospectives? Okay, let's check. How many points did you end up with?
Seven.
7 points. Okay.
17.
17. Okay, well, to be honest, they took some risks.
This is how.
They ended up in jail twice. So try. But okay, 17 points more. So I'm going to give you the prize. But I think since you all worked very well, I think it would be nice to share with everyone. So thank you very much. So let's see if we can get some learnings. And I also would like to get some of them on video. So who wants to share what they learned during this game about impediments? Anybody?
We were able to identify a number of impediments which we normally face during our sprints, and then how we can resolve them. So I can explain like number of 5 points which we got. Like one of the problem was skill set. It means like people are not trained enough so that they can do their job. So we decided, okay, we'll be doing extensive learning program and training program, and we'll be giving some dedicated time to train themselves, or so that they can increase their knowledge base, so that they can work efficiently. That was one point. Second was shared resources. We were having problems regarding like same resource was working on multiple sprints in the same time. So we decided in 2 ways, like we will change our sprint scope so that we will have a fixed goal for the sprint, so that we can do in smaller phases, complete our task and then work on the next item. Second one, like we escalated this issue with higher management, and we hired more resources and we planned it accordingly. Third one from our side was improper planning, and this was like this is lead to the same, like we should have proper sprint planning, which is again leads to learning. So we have to train team again regarding the process so that they can fix this issue. Next, we face some issue regarding definition of done. So this is again lead to process. So we will include CI/CD and other things into our process, so that whatever we are doing, we will finish it as per our definition of done. The last one was commitment without checking with the actual team who is working on that. Higher management is doing some commitment with big bosses. Okay, we are gonna release in 2 weeks, but actually this work is not gonna finish in 2 weeks. So which means like we need to be transparent. We need to share this information we need to check with the team actually who is working on it, and we need to share that information to higher management.
Okay.
That's it.
So this game has actually helped us simulate the actual working environment that we have in our particular companies. I believe all the impediments that we've been through, we have seen at some point in time during our iterations.
Okay.
Apart from that, we didn't like it. Yeah, so this helped us, and giving yourself or your team coins whenever you complete, some actions or you complete your iteration has actually simulated that particular feeling when you deliver something in production. So this is a very good simulation of, how actually, Agile works in our respective companies, and the actual problems that we face during that, to simulate that and to improve the understanding of our team members, how we can, handle them, and, with better coordination among the teams, and, all those things. So this was a very good simulation. I hope we'll
Thank
be able
you.
to do in our respective companies as well.
Yeah,
Very good.
that's basically the idea behind the gamification. If you play a game like this, you want to reward behavior that would help you as a team.
Exactly.
So you want to reward teams to discuss about what's the impediment, what's the real problem in there, how can we get a better understanding of the problem, what's the kind of action that you would take. So normally a team, you wouldn't give yourself points as you mentioned, but by giving them points in this game, it stimulates the kind of thinking that you would like to see in your team.
Yeah. So this is a fun way of learning that goes a long way. It's not easy to forget something that you learn by having fun with it.
Yeah.
So this will go a long way. Just one question. So if we have to use this in our own companies, with our team members, do we have to take permission or how does that work?
Yeah, you need to take permission for that. Right now, as I explained at the start of this game, I'm in the process of making the exercise that I use in my workshops available as a downloadable tool. Right now, the cards are downloadable already, so they can be taken from my website together with a license to play them in your company. And I'm working on also productifying this game and also making it available for companies and for people to use in there to play with that, because I can't go around the whole world playing this game and helping people in there, and I see the value of playing this in teams. I have one question on the action that came up. How many actions did you have for team member? How many for Scrum Master? How many external?
We can count. We can count.
We had 3 actions on team members.
Yeah.
4 on the Scrum
4
Master,
on Scrum Master and 2 external managers.
Okay, so most of the actions on Scrum Master. 3, 4, 2.
Yeah.
How come most of the action on Scrum Master? What made you decide that the Scrum Master had to take action instead of that a team member could do it?
Because the problems where external teams integration was required, or coordination with external teams were required, we gave it to the Scrum Master to resolve that impediment.
And the thing which
as
we
well as
observe-
guiding the team.
The thing which we observe is that the Scrum Master is a very less fortunate person, because he does not do commitment on himself. Things are imposing on him, and he need to take a step up, and he need to stand up for the team to make the team better and to have better implementation of Agile. And another thing which this game proof is the theory of stick and carrot. So that's a good point.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, the thing is that during this workshop, we just learned that whole team is involved in impediments. That's not like raising a concerns and keep them open for a longer time. So it's like whole team is involved and they look into that, okay, what issue needs to be resolved. It's not like that raising a concern to their managers or just forget about it and keep raising it every time. Instead of it, whole team involved and they keep trying to solve, and in that manner some of impediments is maybe Scrum Master or any team member, it doesn't matter, but the thing is that involved by whole team and concerned by whole team.
So actually, in a way, it empowers the whole team to take action instead of depending too much on any external people in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and actually what I see is when I play this with teams around the world, I see most of the actions ending up at team member or Scrum Master, and occasionally some actions also externally. Where initially, if I would ask people like, okay, if you have an impediment, do you think you can solve it yourself, or do you think that you need management support? Many people would say, well, we need management support because we have a problem in our organization. Actually, if people play this game, they become aware there's much more that they can do themselves, that they can solve themselves. And then the question whether it's a team member or a Scrum Master, it's still team internal. So it's actually the team who can do a lot more than they actually think that they can do. That's one of the learnings that I see come from playing this game.
One of the zoos.
I like to switch to the other team now because I also like to hear what they...
We had this great opportunity. We had this great opportunity to find out basically with each impediment that we faced. It's not that we talked whose fault is it, why did it happen, but actually how do we overcome it and how to go further. And what should be the result. For each of the impediments that we had, we never used actually the external support. Most of them were solved just by the team themselves, not actually team member, but the whole team. So that's one thing that we pointed out actually. Why does it say team member? It should be actually the team, the whole group. There was some
it's
stuff.
people from the team together. It's not one team member, but it's the team together.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes. And as well, the other thing was basically all of these things, these impediments are just one sentence that someone could say, but depending on the culture in the company, and these sentences are not just put out there and left like that. Mostly it's like, okay, can you be more specific? Let's discuss about it. And because for each of the impediments, we actually took several ways, or okay, if it's this that he means, then maybe it's this. If it's this, then this is the action. So it depends. And in our opinion, I believe that no impediment can be described just with one sentence. It should be elaborated more clearly. Someone else to add?
To try to understand what's really happening in there. And I'm very glad to say that you were not looking at who's causing the problem, you were looking at a way to understand the problem. This is a kind of blameless behavior that you would like to see in team, like kind of eagerness to know what's happening in our team, what's the problem that we're facing right now, and instead of blaming somebody, trying to understand the problem. And once you understand the problem, once you understand what's happening in there, you will find out most often it's quite easy to solve it.
Mm-hmm.
So if you spend 60, 70%, maybe even 80% of your time on understanding the problem, that's not a problem, because when you know the problem, the solution usually comes easy. And that's the thing what I see with a lot of teams, that they try to jump into the solution too early. So if you spend time on really understanding the problems, having a discussion in your team before you decide on what you will do, that's a good investment that you want to make in your team.
If I may add.
Yeah, well, I think it's good to see that kind of behavior, like you want to get to a shared understanding instead of having discussion on who to blame. You're having a discussion, okay, what's the problem, what's the issue, and how can we learn from each other, how can we get better in this? That's the real benefit that you want to get out of this. This is also the kind of stuff that you would like to see happening in your teams. When there's a problem, try to understand what's happening, and once you understand what's happening, it becomes a lot easier to solve it. So that's the kind of stuff that this game tries to stimulate and to bring to service, and to help teams to become aware that they actually possess the qualities to do this kind of stuff. Because most of the teams do, most of the people do. But a lot of organizations, they're not used to work like this. They're not used to having these kind of open discussions in a team and to explore a problem together, because they're so much focused on getting the job done. But investing time in discussing, like, okay, how do we feel about this? What's the real problem? What's happening in here? What's happening in our team? This stuff matters to really build a strong team.
The last step I thought that it's missing here, that as a team we saw the problem, we solved it, it's done, but at this moment we have to escalate it to the management so we can find out a way for this not to happen again. And we can add it to our policies and procedure for the future team.
Yeah.
So we don't have to face the same problem twice. We solved it already, we don't want to see it again.
So okay, but by escalating it to management, what do you expect of management?
I told them, like, in general, with my manager, I just go to him, tell him this problem happened, we solved it, this was a solution that worked. Let's try to find a way so this doesn't happen again. So we discuss what we can add in our policies and procedures so it will not happen again. I could leave the company tomorrow. My coworker could leave the company tomorrow. So the new stuff will not have the same.
Okay, so you want to embed it into the company culture, into the company processes on a broader level than just the team level.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that's a benefit which can come out of here. A lot of this will depend on your organization, your organizational culture, whether your managers will be open to that. But I think it can be a learning from teams up to the higher level in the organization to learn about, okay, this is a problem, we know how to solve it. That might be interesting for other people in the organization, and it might be that we need to change something in our organizational processes to prevent it from happening again. Okay, thank you. Any other learnings that you'd like to share?
So one thing we learned, and you pointed out 3 times, blame game is not good.
Oh, thanks so much.
Okay, so I want to thank you for playing the game in here. I hope this has been interesting for you to see how to deal with impediments, also to see how gamification is something that can help teams to learn and to improve new skills and to see the strengths that they have as a team. So thank you for being at my workshop.
Thank you for the game.
you.